Welcome to the Rise Up podcast, where we explore the stories of business leaders rising above challenges and driving innovation. And excited to welcome to our Wonder Tree studio, Eric Maki, the managing director of university recreation at Texas Tech University.
Yeah, thank you very much for having me. I appreciate
Eric.
it.
Yes, on a little frigid December-ish morning.
Oh, the sun shines out. It's a good day to run.
Yes.
It's nice.
It is, right? We were chatting off air, and you enjoy being outside, moving the body a little bit. You mind the cold weather when you do that?
No, I can always layer up. It's the summers when I'm out running, and people prefer that I also layer up then too.
They do. There's a few people I've noticed running around town that do not take that to heart, and
I either layer up during the summer just to make sure I'm not offending anybody, or I run when it's dark out.
Yeah, that's good. That's awesome. Well, Eric, man, we're so glad to have you here on the Rise Up podcast. I always kind of love to begin our conversation discussions, just kind of hearing a little bit of your story, your journey. You're in Lubbock, Texas. You're doing a lot of stuff at the university, but did you start in Lubbock, Texas?
No, sir. I started my career in collegiate recreation way back in 1997.
Yeah.
Graduate school at Southern Illinois University at Edwardsville.
Yes.
Right across the river.
Salukis?
We're the Cougars. Salukis are down in Carbondale.
Oh, sorry. Got my Illinois universities mixed up.
That's okay.
Yep.
So I did graduate work at SIU Edwardsville.
Yeah.
And that was a 2-year stint, and I got a great experience and loved it. At the time, I was just newly married.
Yeah.
And so then I started my career professionally at Illinois State University.
Yep.
In Normal, Illinois. That's where our son was born, so we like to refer to him as a normal child.
That's good. Yeah. Has that maintained true?
No, it has not. It has not.
We tried to speak that into existence, and it just didn't quite.
No, it stuck for about 6 months.
That's right.
And then from Illinois State, after about 7 years, I went to Cleveland State University. Along the river, it was not burning when I was there.
Cleveland State in Cleveland, Ohio?
Yes, I learned all about lake effect snow there.
Oh, man.
Lived about 30 miles south of the city.
What was the biggest snow hit you saw come through there?
We got about 22 inches. This was in 2006 and 7.
Yeah.
We got about 22 inches over a day and a half.
Oh.
And that shut the city down for about 2.5 days.
Wow.
And so I realized I enjoyed going to Cleveland baseball, but I didn't enjoy the winter. So we went back to the Midwest and went to University of Missouri. And that's not only what I consider a part of my home, it's also where I did undergraduate work. I worked at Mizzou from 2007 to 2012. And then I took a director job at Wichita State University. I was there for 5 years.
The
Shockers, exactly.
Yes.
Great basketball.
Yes. They've won some baseball games in their life too.
They have. They won a national championship before I arrived.
Yep.
And then after Wichita State, I went to Westchester University in Pennsylvania. And I was there for a couple of years. And then I finally got the blessing of coming to West Texas in Lubbock to become the managing director at Texas Tech University.
Now, when was that?
That was 2019.
Yeah.
So I started in August of 2019. And then 7 months later, the world shut down. And one of the things that, as a point of pride for our department, and it's a team effort in everything that we find successful, is we were the first first building on campus open during COVID.
That's a big statement, especially for what you represent. And we'll kind of dig into that here in just a minute. Yeah. So as I hear you talk about your journey a little bit, I'm curious. We talked off air. I'm not from Texas originally, although we moved to Texas in my elementary years. So I guess I do claim it as home, as they say. Got here as quick as we could. You spent a lot of time in the great Midwest. The Midwest is an incredible part of the country that I'm not sure a lot of our listeners have spent time in. I have, family from the Midwest.
Right.
And then you come to Texas, West Texas, right? Texas is its own country, right?
It is.
Kind of tell me, what are differences, similarities? What has struck you interesting about, you're growing up in the Midwest, working in the Midwest, and now having spent the last, 6+ years in West Texas?
Well, one of the things that's probably the most rewarding is the students that I get to work with each and every day.
Yep.
I've worked at 6 different universities, and I can tell you that the work ethic, the care, the desire to serve others at Texas Tech and the students that we hire at University Recreation, we're talking fitness instructors, we're talking supervisors, we're talking trip leaders, intramural officials. They all enjoy what they do.
Wow.
And they show up, they're present, they're hardworking, they have fun, and they make the others that are participating in our programs and services enjoy themselves. So our students are the best that I've worked around and with throughout my journey.
That's a big statement.
It is.
Because there's a lot of conversation. Some of it's valid. I think some of it could be a little misleading that, this generation of young people, of students, this or that or that or this. Right. And you don't hear the messaging, and it could be because of the students that have been coming here, but you don't hear that messaging about attitude and work ethic and integrity and all of these things. Did you see there was a little thing that went around after game day came in for the Texas Tech BYU game, Kirk Herbstreit's? Mm-hmm. You know what I'm talking about? When he was kind of just talking about, if you haven't been to Lubbock.
Yeah, I did see that a couple times where he was just talking about the great hospitality. Right.
And if you need a pick me up from the students to the faculty to the staff to the city, you need to come to this place.
Texas Tech, it's red and black. Yeah. And they rolled out a very, very large red carpet for college game day.
Yeah.
And I kind of observed it as a staff member on campus. Yep. I was kind of privy to how they were putting this all together and the teamwork that went into it between athletics, the administration, res life, hospitality, everybody was engaged and wanted to make sure not only the students that were, really camping out
that's true.
almost a week in advance,
they were living,
had a great experience, and can look back on that, but also that the visitors that were coming to town from alumni to just, television production crews all had a great experience from flight to hotel to food to just atmosphere. Yeah. And when you also get perfect weather like we had that day, that
Thank goodness for that.
It's a big exclamation mark. And the wind helped.
Yeah.
Right. The wind helped.
Absolutely. Yeah. No, it's just always really great. I think when you live here and you see, and this phrase is said a lot, and sometimes people don't really understand it. It's like, the people are great, right? We don't have mountains or beaches or beautiful rivers, but the people are great. And it's like, I don't think people really understand what that means and looks like. And I kind of think a little deeper. What does that mean for me and for my life and my interaction, my energy level, my whatever? Right. It's massive.
It is. And I mean, people make all the difference in our lives, right?
Yes.
The good ones and the ones that maybe didn't leave as great an impression on you, right? And so the people, the students, the teamwork that goes on at Texas Tech in all areas to ensure our students have a great academic experience, but also a great experience outside the classroom. Yep. So that when they leave Texas Tech, they're ready to be successful people, not just a successful fill in the blank engineer or whatnot. And so it's really about the cohesion in and outside the classroom. And I love it. I absolutely love it. And I love the people I work with.
Yep. So kind of tell me, Eric, kind of backing up a little bit, as you weave along your career arc and experiences, how did the student recreation, how did that get your attention? What was that? You knew this going on? Did you kind of stumble into it and find things that attracted you, or kind of what did that journey look like?
Man, that's a great question, and I appreciate it. I came into the field of higher education and collegiate rec pretty old. I didn't begin grad school till I was 30 years old.
Oh, wow.
And I didn't finish, of course, till I was 32. And at the time I was working in hospitality management.
Yeah.
And I was newly married. And my wife said to me, I love you, but I don't love you when you're in your work.
Yeah.
Because she could tell I wasn't loving what I was doing. It was a job, not a career.
Yeah. Yep.
And so I showed up at SIU Edwardsville and knocked on a door of a person named John Bell. And I told him my story like I'm kind of sharing with you.
Yeah.
I was newly married. I wanted to get into sports and recreation or athletics. And he said, well, you need to go to grad school. And he goes, I think I can help you with that.
Yeah.
And he walked me down the hallway and he introduced me to the chair of the sports management department. And before I knew it, I was signed up for classes and he hired me as a graduate assistant. And when I got home, my wife said, how was your day? And I said, I think I'm going to graduate school.
Yeah.
And she's like, what does that mean? I go, I think that means we're going to be poor for a couple of years, but we're going to be rich in happiness.
Yes, that's a good statement.
And she was really good with that. And so that's really where it all started. Yep. It started just because I was able to cold call a gentleman named John Bell, who's since retired, but still in my life. And he just said, I can help you. And I said, I'll take it because I need it. And that's where it all started. And we're almost 30 years later.
I wish I could just talk for a long time and people could really hear the power, that literally the life-changing journey power when the John Bells of the world take a minute to stop their busy schedule. They got a lot going on, a lot of responsibility to say, I can help.
Right.
And then actually
do it.
Spend some time walking you down the hallway, introducing you, connecting you.
Right.
And the domino effect of your life, right? The people that you now get to lead and impact, I'm not saying 100% of, you participated in it,
right.
but just the generosity of your time, your attention into other people.
Right. Well, and it took me a little while to kind of get the sense of this. It took higher ed to bring this out in me. But I really start with the intentionality of each day of trying to make a positive impact on the lives of somebody.
Yes. Yep.
That's the intention.
Yep.
Some days I go home and I'm like, didn't make it.
Yep.
Some days I don't always make a positive impact.
Yep.
I just make an impact. But the intention of starting each day with that goal and hoping to achieve it by 9 a.m. or by noon or by 4. And if not, then I get to go home and walk my dog and hopefully make a positive impact on the dog buster. And that's what we do.
Yep.
But that's the important thing, I think, intentionality.
Man, there's a great Proverbs in Proverbs, I think chapter 11, and it came up today because today's Giving Tuesday, and there's an emphasis for it. But I think the core principle behind it that I think has been around forever has been, when you live in generosity, it comes back to you in ways that goes way beyond whatever level of generosity you've given. It's not just money. It's I think more time, attention.
It is.
People care.
It is.
Kindness.
We have an ad hoc committee. We've got about 6 ad hoc committees in our department, and one of them is civic engagement. And so about a month and a half ago, the chair of that ad hoc committee had set us up, people to volunteer to go to a school and read to children about Amelia Earhart and talk about, her role as a female in a new world like that.
Yeah.
And it was just giving time.
Yeah.
And it's the most important thing that we can give somebody is our time.
Yep. Well, I love that. So kind of tell me this. Let's say that our audience is listening and you give a description around student recreation. And that's probably shifted and changed, even probably since you've been in the industry. But kind of what's an overarching description of what you'd say is student recreation under kind of the university umbrella?
Sure. Well, one of the biggest things we want to try and do is build community. We want to build a healthy community, right?
Yes.
And so when you talk about some of our group dynamics, from intramural sports and sport clubs to fitness classes, there's so much that can be done by building our students and making them feel valued while they're here at Texas Tech. And it's so important that happens not only when they get to school at Tech, but even during their orientation sessions or in the summer, and letting them know this is a space for you. We're a comprehensive department. We've got climbing walls. We do trips.
Yep.
We've got multiple swimming pools. We've got an outdoor park. This is a place where you can meet people that are going to support you in being a successful person. And so really our number one thing is about building community, building a healthy
really good.
community.
Yeah. Yep.
I think the other part of it is our employment side. So we employ over 400 students a year. Some as early as high schoolers.
Yep.
Like we've got a lot of high school lifeguards.
Yep.
And then we've got certainly a number of Texas Tech students, right? And so just the transferable skills to help them be successful. What we talk about is we want to help you be successful in the classroom. We want to help you be successful in our community. And we want to help you be successful postgraduate.
Yeah.
And so the critical thinking skills, conflict resolution, communication, success and failure, and how to deal with both.
Yeah.
You get that through employment with us, whether you're blowing a whistle for an intramural, whether you're lifeguarding, whether you're greeting guests, whether you're leading a trip. You've got a lot of responsibility and we trust you because we train you well and we believe in you.
I've had conversations with business leaders, even some on this podcast, that there's a little bit of a challenge with this young generation in some of what we're calling some soft skills, communication skills, being able to look someone in the eye and not the phone and articulate, verbally communicate, problem solve, some soft skills that are, I think we know, desperately core needed for success in life.
Very much so.
And in some ways, I don't know if it's a COVID effect or what it may be. It's just the change in the worlds, digitally, whatever, that's kind of missing in a lot of places. So to hear you describe a real emphasis on certainly the community aspect, which I'll bring that up in a second, but really trying to help to cultivate that, that's huge.
Yeah. I mean, it's the role we play. And it happens also in Res Life, and it happens, all around campus. But it's making sure they have the experience that's going to make them successful people in and outside the classroom. It can't be just one, because you can only go so far with one. If I don't get a good academic experience, but I'm a great person, well, I'm only going to get so far, or I might not find my career till I'm 32. But at the same time, if all you are is a really strong technical academic, but you really can't communicate, you really can't process, you really can't have empathy, then at some point you're also going to hit a ceiling. And we want to help you bust through that ceiling to be a successful person.
And I think it's so great to even have leadership and to prioritize, hey, we're all a work in progress. I'm a big work in progress. You're a work in progress. And certainly the younger you are, you're work in progress. So you don't have it all together, but this is, I love vision. This is a vision of a fruitful, productive life as you lean into these skills, as you lean into this type of leadership and empathy and so forth. So, and the fact that I really loved, I didn't even imagine there would be such an emphasis around community, but I've said this, having led lots of different groups and young people, community is where some of the greatest growth takes place in a world that has a lot of isolation, right? It just kind of breaks my heart, honestly, to see a lot of people in isolation and what that does to them. And then the reverse of people who step into community. It's not always easy, but the fact that you foster it so well out of activities that students want to be a part of. Hey, I want to go cycling. I want to go rock walling. I want to be in soccer. That's easy to take a step into that direction.
Yeah, and it's the same with the employment experience, and it's the same with living in res life. They've got the same emphasis, because one of the key things is if a student can find, like today's student, in my generation, if I didn't find my spot, say within a semester, I might leave. Okay. In fact, I did. Okay. I was at Illinois State for a semester, didn't feel connected. Left. So I wasted a semester of my life, wasted dollars from my parents.
That university did not get to service you.
And it's partly on me too for not seeking it out. But you know, at Texas Tech, we encourage it from the moment when they step on campus through an orientation program, okay, and through Red Raider Camp. And so that building of community, and because students now, I stayed for a semester. Students today, if they haven't found their niche or their place by Labor Day, they've been here for 2.5 weeks. They'll go home. They'll go home for Labor Day and they won't come back. And that's not how you help somebody build resilience. That's not how you help somebody process how I can find my spot, patience to find the right spot, not just a spot. And so it's important that we put ourselves forward and lean into the students that need that.
No, that's huge. I mean, and again, my brain's a little bit financially wired. And I remember speaking to university officials over the years and trying to, like, hey, listen, there's lots of motivations for leading students and so on and so forth. Dollars are necessary, alumni donation dollars. So the more that you can, emphasize their experience, I said, give them some financial skills, like how do you balance a checkbook and how do you avoid debt and so on and so forth. So they've got extra dollars and motivation to give back to the university. And the community aspect of it speaks to, oh my gosh, my time at Texas Tech was amazing. And they're probably thinking a little bit about the classroom. That certainly, mostly it was the community relationships and experiences.
I'll share a couple things on that topic. The first is, I believe that if we do our job well in collegiate recreation, here's the path for a student, and here's how we support the university. We help with recruitment. So they come here because they think we've got what they're looking for. They stay because they find it. Okay. So we help with retention. We help them achieve their academic goal of graduating. They leave with transferable skills. And then if we all did our jobs well, they give back. Okay. But the biggest thing they can give back, and the thing that's really great to hear, is I'll talk to parents and students when they come through our facilities, and you'll hear a parent say, I was here when. And when a parent wants to give their child back to you to foster them for the next 4 to 6 years, right? That's the biggest gift they can give, right? And so that's really, really, really critical. And it's something we take a lot of pride in at Texas Tech.
And you've got some kids that are.
I have a son who's 25. He ran for 4 years at a D2 school called Emporia State.
Yeah,
So he was
yeah.
He went to cross country nationals. We had a great experience with that. He then came to Texas Tech because he had a year of COVID to run.
Mm-hmm.
He ran here. He loves to wear his Big 12 Conference Championship ring
awesome.
that he was a part of. It's huge. I put it up next to my wife's wedding ring and like, I got to do some work here.
That's right.
And then he finished his coaching degree and now he coaches at a NAIA school.
Wow.
Cross country and track called Rockhurst University in Kansas
awesome.
City.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man, that's really well. And you just said it. I've got daughters that are in the high school stages, and college is very quickly coming. And obviously, I had a tremendous experience. It's where my wife and I met in university in Tulsa, Oklahoma. And so, whether or not our daughters follow that direction, you're exactly right. You desire, again, whether it's your alma mater or something else, you want them to have that experience because it's so transformational in your own journey, foundational.
It is.
Yep.
It's critical.
So I kind of like to ask leadership-driven questions because I believe, like a lot of people say, most things rise and fall in leadership.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'll kind of first ask the question, what leaders, mentors have kind of made a mark in your own life? I mean, you kind of referenced to John Bell. What are some of the marks that you kind of look back over your life, leaders you've sat under that you're like, wow, that was significant?
Right. Well, nothing against it, not to sound hokey, but my dad, my dad owned grocery stores for most of his life. Most of my ways of creating some income for myself to go buy a pop or something was doing odd jobs at his grocery stores.
Yeah.
So mom and dad ran those, and dad taught me the value of work ethic.
Yeah.
Dad taught me the value of like what it's like to have money in your pocket and how to spend it wisely.
Yeah. Yes.
Not recklessly. So it certainly starts with my dad. But then when we get into my career, certainly a couple people, you mentioned John Bell, fantastic.
Yeah.
I certainly had some people early on, Jeff Lopez, who was at Illinois State with me. He was somebody who, when I started in my career in collegiate recreation, like I was just like, this is great. I get to work around students.
Yeah.
I got a place to work out now. This is awesome, right?
That's right.
And he's like, well, we actually he helped me learn the intentionality behind the work that we do.
Yeah.
And so Jeff was fantastic. And then, at University of Missouri, Diane Dahlman, she then taught me about, Eric, we can't just do our jobs well. We have to do them to our best. Yeah. And so she always was challenging me.
Yep.
Where can we find the margins? How can you do this better? You did it well. Now, how can you do it better? Yep. Not just, well, you did it, let's move on. It was like, let's keep getting better at it, not just say we did it. It wasn't just a collectible. And then Christine Schneikart-Luby at Wichita State University really taught me about the role. That was my first director's role, and she was my AVP.
Yep.
And she taught me to see the campus in a much wider view.
Yeah.
Beyond just recreation, but how our dominoes can affect res life and hospitality and so many other pieces of the student experience. And then Zeb Davenport, when I interviewed out at Westchester University, I was interviewing, I was having dinner with Zeb and Pete Galloway. And Zeb asked me the question over dinner. It's the stock question, right? So you're always ready for it. And he said, Eric, what do you think the role of campus recreation is at Westchester University? I said, I've got this.
Yeah.
Right? I've answered this. I said, well, our role is to support the academic mission of the institution, Zeb. And he looked down on his plate, then he looked up at me and he said, no, we're more than that, man. I'm like, oh, shoot.
Yeah.
And I said, what's up? He's like, we don't complement the academic experience. We complete it.
Yeah.
Without the out of classroom experience, that student's only going to leave our university with so much of a ceiling.
Yep.
And I then looked at Zeb. I said, wow, I've never heard that before. That's mind blowing.
Yep.
And I said, does that mean I'm not getting the job? He said, no, you're doing okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then the rest of the day went okay. But I've taken that from Zeb, Dr. Davenport, and really tried to apply that about the fact that the students that engage, whether it be in recreation, whether it be through Res Life, whether it be fraternity sororities, whether it be in a different type of club or activity, for them to get the full experience of Texas Tech, it's a partnership between the academics and the out of classroom.
Well, just even as I hear you talking about some of those different, lessons and things that's been drawn from some of your different leaders, that I keep going back to this word, and maybe this is just one of my own emphasis around vision, casting vision as a leader for those that you're under. And so I think I'll make the assumption that now that in the role that you're in with, 400 plus, lives that you're responsible for and leading, do you find that's as much of your responsibility is to remind the vision of all those different kind of things that is critical?
It is. And it's probably a thing that I can continue to try and do better.
Yeah.
Because we've got our values. We sat down and we wordsmithed and workshopped values.
Yep.
And the same with a mission and a vision. And I believe in them, okay, about enriching the lives of Texas Tech University students and positively impacting their well-being. But every now and then I can get lost in the technical.
Yeah.
How are we going to make a budget happen? How can we generate more revenue? How can we make a wider impact? And so it's really easy in the day-to-day.
Yeah.
So it's important that it's reinforced, and it's something I could probably do much, much better, but it's something that I'm striving to do better.
This, I try to, and this is my relation to even recreation. It's this kind of analogy of like, you don't get better just by hoping you get better. I use the phrase of, you have to give it reps. Mm-hmm. You have to practice. You have to exercise.
Right.
Tools, practices, routines, habits, beliefs, whatever it is. You got to practice it.
Right.
You have to give it reps, or else it becomes something that's important to you, but it just drops off in the busyness of life.
It can.
And so it's like, I've just tried to find for me, I think like a lot of us, man, you look down and you've got a laundry list of to-dos that are important. They're my responsibility. But in the middle of that, how do I remind myself at 10:30 in the morning, at 11:30, at 2 in the afternoon, when my brain is not focusing? I've got the to-do list, and it's like I'm trying to create these little trigger moments to kind of reset my thinking, even if it's literally for 30 seconds. Right. And it may be just a pause. It may be a certain phrase that just gives my brain like, oh, have I been giving this any emphasis in the midst of all, like you've talked about? Because it is so easy to have head down and just sometimes overlook those things that are really important to us. They just get kind of lost.
Right. Well, I'm blessed by a couple things. First, I've got staff that will come to my office and say, hey, I need to show you this.
Yeah.
And so that'll get my head off the computer, off the screen. But I also let my team know, look, if you see me wandering around in the building or out by the pools or in the park, I'm not looking for problems. I'm looking for vision.
Yeah.
And I'm looking to take a break from what I want to see what we're doing.
Yep.
Because that will encourage me and it will uplift me when I see just the general students at Texas Tech, participating in an intramural volleyball game. I work out almost every day around 5 o'clock in our building.
Yep.
And I row. And so the rowers are set so I can look out over the park.
Oh, that's nice.
I did that intentionally.
Yes, good for you. You had some influence over that, right?
I did. I said, this is where I want the rowers. But they're also backed up against one of our basketball courts. And just about every night, Monday through Thursday or Sunday through Thursday, our men's or women's volleyball sport club will be practicing on the court behind me.
Yeah.
And I just get to hear them. I get to hear their laughter. I get to hear their communication when they're really practicing hard.
Yeah.
And so I'm rowing, looking at the park, and I'm hearing what these people are saying behind me about what they're enjoying and how they're building their own community. We gave them the resources.
Yes.
They built the community.
That's right. So that's really good. I'm going to kind of pivot a little bit and ask this question. Mental health has been a growing and I think really important topic that's, very wide reaching. But just as it relates to your department, student recreation, community building, where has the capacity to maybe directly or indirectly influence mental health with young people that I think are facing sometimes, on their own, intentionally, unintentionally, just an onslaught, a lot of stuff that attacks their mental health? What does that look like in your department? Is there anything intentional, unintentional that we try to do to foster that kind? I'm just kind of curious if that conversation ever comes up. And
so one of the things that's really great about University Recreation at Texas Tech are the professionals that I get to work with.
Yep.
And the collaboration that they will do both internally and externally.
Yep.
And so, for example, I think tomorrow we have what's called Zen Day. And that's a collaboration between some of our entry-level program managers. And there's going to be yoga. We have a florist come in and the people run when the flowers are out to get their roses, whether it's for themselves.
Yeah.
And what you can see is these are people that maybe haven't had a chance to treat themselves maybe as well as they could or would like to through the semester because of other issues, other challenges. But they come to our Zen Day or they come to one of our fitness and wellness programs or really any of our activities. But when they come to Zen Day, they're treating themselves. They're making sure before they start the finals challenge that they're treating themselves with some relaxation, with some, this makes me feel good. We're really in the feelings business. It's about, so how did that person feel when they got here? And how did they feel when they left? And I try to emphasize to our students and our staff, we are in most instances, potentially the best 75 minutes that person's going to have of their day. So we need to do everything we can to make it what they're hoping or even make it better. And so that's really important. From the moment they walk through our doors, we don't know if they got a ticket.
That's right.
We don't know if they got a bad grade on a test. We don't know if they had an argument or a disagreement with a roommate or maybe a boyfriend, girlfriend. So they've walked into our doors, or maybe they've had a great day. And they're going to build on it. We can help take a good day to a great day. We can help take a bad day to a good day or a great day just by us, acknowledging them and having, facilities that are available for them to replenish their souls.
That's so huge. I was fortunate. I went to university in Tulsa, Oral Roberts University, and there was a significant, which is kind of surprising. I went to school back in the 90s.
So old.
I know, right?
80s.
I know. But there was this significant theme around you're a whole person in your mind, in your body, in your soul. And we are going to, have a curriculum, an academic that requires you, and literally, you may be familiar with this, we had to record our aerobic activity points. And every semester you were required to take some, athletic, aerobic, recreational type of thing, but built into that course was a requirement to record weekly your activity, your aerobics, because I think they were trying to create this holistic mental, emotional, physical lifestyle. While you're in your 18 to 20s, creating this in you, and you got graded on it. So like if you didn't keep up with your points, and of course, some kids would lie and not keep up with it. But I remember basketball for 1 hour, take your heart rate, 15 aerobic points. So I still remember that.
All right. Good for you.
But I love the emphasis that you all give because you're creating habits and lifestyles that students can begin to adopt. Giving them the atmosphere, the environment to do that today. But ultimately, this type of activity doesn't have to stop even when you leave, when you don't have a beautiful facility.
Correct. Well, and the other thing is, employers are looking for that, right? You talked about soft skills, but we also talk about, when an employer sees you might have been on a sport club, or when I talk to my son who is a D2 athlete, what they know is you're going to be practicing these habits that you're going to be asking. So do we have a benefit that allows me to purchase a membership to a fitness facility or a club? Back in my day, all right, the fitness facility or the club was usually a bar. We didn't have the facilities that students have today. And so our out of classroom experience was mostly, I'm going to go somewhere and at University of Missouri, I'm going to have a Bud Light. Okay. We want you doing 5 to 6 days of us. We want to be your location where you find your social value, your currency, and that you want to make us your priority because you'll take those responsibilities with you. And that employer knows I'm going to get somebody who's not going to be missing work a lot. I'm going to get somebody who's looking to be a leader. And they see their future leaders.
I heard this quote a few weeks ago, and it's just, I cannot leave my brain. And that is, so much of our lives is making some intentional choices that I'm going to invest in myself today so that my future self tomorrow can get the benefits of it. And everything you've described is 100% that, investing in your interaction as a team member, as an employee, and your mental, your physical well-being, so that my future self tomorrow.
Well, I'm now an older adult. I don't always behave like that, but I am an older adult. And when I speak to other faculty and staff, especially when we have a new employee orientation, or I interact with others on campus, or I have a conversation with them. I'll sometimes ask them, do you want to play with your grandkids or do you want to watch your grandkids? Yeah. Because what you do in your 30s, your 40s, and your 50s are going to determine if you're sitting in the chair watching them from afar or if you're out there playing with them.
Yeah.
And so that's one of those points that I'm like, it's just taking ownership of how you prioritize.
That's right.
And you got to prioritize yourself sometimes too.
You'll laugh at this. James Clear wrote Atomic Habits. I think, honestly, one of the most phenomenal books on just creating habit, lifestyle, behavior stuff.
Right.
And, he kind of paints it around, what's the identity you're telling yourself? Who am I? I'm a person that goes to work out. I'm a person that takes care of my body. And often your habits, your actions will follow the identity that you claim yourself. Right. And so I was thinking, I've got a lot of identity about myself, but this phrase came into my brain and I love the picture it gives me. And this is what I tell myself.
Okay.
Cause it's a beatdown, to go work out, right? I love it. I love how it makes me feel.
Right.
But when I'm swimming laps, it is a beatdown.
Right.
When I'm on the treadmill and I'm on the stair climber, it is a beatdown. I love rowing. It's a beatdown. But I tell myself, I will be the grandfather, literally, who picks up my grandkids and throws them in the pool.
There you go.
I literally have that picture.
Yep.
What is that going to require of me as a 48, almost 50-year-old?
Yeah.
Today,
ancient,
I got to go do push-ups. I got to go do this stuff.
Right. I tell people the only run I regret is the one I skip.
Yeah.
And there's some times when I skip a run, I've just, sometimes it's the choice. Do I want to get home at 5:30 and be a little earlier, to see my wife and Buster the dog?
Yeah.
Or sometimes I'm going to be home at 6. It's just what it's going to be.
That's right.
But my wife also appreciates the fact that that's going to still make me better.
Yes.
It's going to make me better with her. It's going to make me better with our son and better in my future. So, and that's a family thing.
Yeah, I love it. Okay, we wrap up with some of our rapid fire questions.
Okay.
What's a wild idea that you entertained as either a leader or maybe you yourself came up with? And you can say whether it was successful or not successful, but just in the stimulation of ideas, what's some crazy ideas, wild ideas that you've entertained or thrown out there over the years?
Well, one that was recent, and it didn't go all the way to fruition, but the team did a great job with it. It wasn't on them, it was on me. But we repurposed, I think 4 tennis courts into 12 pickleball courts. Okay. And they're outside. And I kept telling people, man, we got to do a 24-hour pickleball tournament. I used to do 24-hour softball tournaments. I'm like, let's do it. Let's do a 24-hour pickleball tournament. And they did a better job. What they did is they capped it. They said, we're going to do a 100-team tournament.
Yeah.
But they also got Coach McCaslin to come over at like 6 o'clock or whatever time the tournament ended. Maybe it was like 8:30 to present the winners, the trophy. But they had 100 teams. They worked it all through. It didn't require 24 hours. They were better and more efficient. But they got Coach McCaslin from Texas Tech involved. And I'm like, that's a great way to take an average idea and make it better. And they did fantastic with it.
That's been a fascinating wildfire explosion of pickleball, right?
Well, I tell people, and one of my best friends that I just saw when I was back in Columbia, Missouri, watching the cross-country championships, he and I both went to Mizzou together.
Yeah.
And we actually are 1987 University of Missouri pickleball doubles champions. Yeah. Flex.
Come on.
Is that a flex?
That's big time.
Yeah. I think I have the t-shirt still.
Yeah.
It does not fit. But yeah.
Pickleball way back then.
Pickleball, even back in 1988.
Yeah. It's fun. Okay. What currently opportunities or opportunity excites you the most for kind of TTU Rec? Any opportunities now that you guys are cultivating or just currently kind of pushing out?
Sure. So we're actually in the final stages of a presentation for our strategic priorities. And it's really about the next 5 to 10 years of what has to get done for us to continue to level up to meet what the current and future students of Texas Tech are going to need to be successful in and outside the classroom. And so our strategic priority plan is pretty much almost finished. It just needs a little polish on the edges. But it's everything from repurposing current facility space to, look, we've got 2 master plans that show a satellite recreation facility. Let's get cracking on it because students and faculty and parents are looking for that.
What are I could be completely inaccurate in this, but what are sports activities that are just less? Maybe it was popular 10 years ago, and I'm going to use racquetball. I don't know if that's even accurate or not. That could be super popular. But what are some things that are waning in activity, and what's kind of replaced that maybe a little bit?
Sure. So a couple things. You mentioned racquetball. It still has a place because we've got a lot of international faculty, staff, and students.
That's a good point.
And so our international faculty, staff, and students love racket sports.
Yes.
So badminton is still played, racquetball not as much. So we're repurposing some of those sports in our plan. I'll tell you one that's really on the rise, and you're probably aware of this here, as we know in West Texas, but the leisure activity of disc golf. Okay.
Yeah.
It's not quite as grit and determined of regular golf or just whatever golf is now called. It's not disc golf, but disc golf. I run out at May Simmons once or twice a week.
Yes.
And you'll see people all the time out there, groups of 2, 4, they've got their dogs with them. They've got a beverage of some sort with them, and they're just having a great time. It's very leisurely, but they're still having a great time. And there's some that are very competitive with it. So I would tell you racquetball is probably a thing that's, because it's not being taught as much in the high schools. So if they're not coming with the knowledge from the high schools from the U.S., there's just a need for fewer courts. Disc golf is certainly going to continue to grow, I think.
And you get the what is now more and more known. You get to be out in the green space.
Correct.
That's mentally, emotionally, physically great.
Correct.
Yep. Do you see, out of curiosity, and I'm going to pick back on pickleball, do you see pickleball turning into a competitive high school, collegiate level team sport, or is that years away, maybe never?
Well, it is somewhat competitive collegiately, because I know that we've got a sport club that's for pickleball, and they'll travel and compete in tournaments in West Texas or within the state. I think it's going to continue to grow. I don't know. So another sport that kind of took off about a decade ago, but really blew up about 5 years ago, esports. Okay.
That's right.
And we have an esport club. It's a collaboration between communications department and us. So we kind of support the students with the out of classroom, but they've built a really gorgeous esport competition space. And they can give them really good advice and direction when it comes to that. But we still also work with those students and say, look, you got to stay healthy, right? You can't, you know.
It doesn't serve the body. It may serve the mind and the knuckles, the fingers, but it's interesting.
So esports, disc golf are two that are very, leisure and their skill level is so wide. You don't have to be an expert yet.
Well, man, gosh, I could keep firing away questions, but we'll kind of maybe save that for maybe round 2 at another time.
Okay.
But Eric, this has been so good. You've shared so many things that I think are so valuable for our audiences today. I always like to conclude with kind of our final question, and that is, if you're sitting across from your 20, 25-year-old young self, what's a nugget? What's something that you'd love to just impart to the younger generation?
The thing I tell our graduates is know what makes you happy and be relentless in pursuit of it. And I didn't really know that when I graduated from University of Missouri. I wasn't really in pursuit. I was drifting. And just looking for a job, not a career. If you know what makes you happy, and that'll change over time. You'll have children. You'll change jobs. Some instances you'll change careers. But if you know what makes you happy, chase it with the relentless energy that you can always have.
Yeah, that's huge. I love it. Well, thank you for joining us on another episode of the Rise Up podcast. Eric, I always like to ask, if people want to reach out to you or the TTU Rec department, what are some ways that they can touch base or take follow-ups?
Sure. Best way is just, find our website, TTU University Recreation. You can look us up under our professional staff, which is under About Us. You can email from there. You can email questions. We've got a lot of membership opportunities for people. This is not a membership plug. There's a lot of people, alumni can purchase a membership. If you're an affiliate by either being a teacher at a Lubbock school or a first responder, or if you're military, you can get a membership if you're not a TTU alum. So,
and if you've never checked out the space there, it is phenomenal. The leisure pool, so many things, rowing. I mean, we could go on and on.
It is, but we've also got great students and great professionals. So.
Love it.
Join us.
Well, Eric, thank you so much. Love it so much. Man, so many good things we could share. And again, thank you for joining us in another episode of the Rise Up podcast. If you want to reach out to us, you can catch us at all of our handles, website, www.getriseenergy.com, at GetRiseEnergy on our social medias. Until then, make it a great day. Make it your best day. Have a good one.